Hello guys, I hope you can all see me clearly and hear me well as well. I'm going to wait for about 5-10 minutes, sorry not 5-10 minutes, 1-2 minutes, just to see if the stream is working and you can see me clearly and hear me clearly, all of that, and then we'll discuss mocks. We'll keep it a short session, not too long. I want to discuss about mock cat and test taking strategy specifically, nothing else. So I'm just waiting for the screen to come on and people to say, look, things are fine and volume is clear and that you can hear me clearly and you can see clearly. And once that is done, we will start going off. And I hope the audio and video is clear. And wonderful. Audio is clear. I just want to hear whether the audio is fine. I'm just going to check that. I'm looking at comments. Volume is good. Super, all clear. Wonderful guys. So I'm going to have a chat at about mocks. And so those of you who have not started mocks, today is a good day. Or failing that, tomorrow is a very good day. Tomorrow is any which way a fantastic day. Very happy, wonderful Independence Day to all of you. Independence Day generally perks me up. I like the occasion. I like the idea of reading old stories about freedom fighters and people who sacrifice life and limb for the country. I like to read about our presidents and prime ministers and national leaders, all of that. So it perks me up, and so I like that. So I'm one of my favorite chuttis. And I'm a big bore, so I keep dragging the kids and telling them about Nehru did this and Gandhi did this and Ambedkar did this and all that. Anyway, a small price to pay. You have to listen to that. If your old man says stories like that, you have to listen. But it's a wonderful occasion. Wonderful occasions. I mean, I know we are not perfect as a country. We have a long way to go. But we are lucky. Nobody gave us a chance 73 years ago for us to survive as a country. We have survived and come this far, so it's up to us, all of you guys, more than even me, to take us down to the next step and compete with the rest of the world and do really well. Forget even compete, do really well. Right? Anyway, let's jump on and talk about mocks. First thing about mocks is there is generally a big resistance to taking mocks. Take them today. Don't defer mock taking. Tomorrow is a wonderful day, as I said. So please start taking mocks as early as possible if you've not taken. Right? So how many mocks should you take and what should be your pattern? What should be your count? The general good number is the ballpark of 20. Fine. So that's a nice minimum number to work from. If you can go to 30, 35, that's brilliant. And so the first 3-4 mocks, it takes you 3-4 mocks to just get used to the idea of mock taking. Just get the energy flowing, manage 3 hours, handle the 3 sections. Just that, it takes you 3-4 mocks. Don't worry about the scores in your mocks for the first 5, 6, 7 mocks. Don't worry about it. And it just simply won't matter. And so the idea of mocks is the first stretch. They're doing mocks over a long period of time. First objective is to get a hang of the paper. Very often we studied percentages, we study para jumbles, we study sequencing puzzles. We fail to see everything put together. So the mock cat stumps us because there's so many moving parts. You don't know what to focus on, where time goes, when do you get tired, all of that. So it's very important to get the overall sense of what this paper is. That takes about 3-4 mocks. That's very important. Second thing is stamina. It is incredibly tough to hang in there for 3 hours. And it's very tough to hang in at peak concentration for 3 hours when you're taking a mock. That is properly challenging. So you need to build the stamina to be intense for that long, which is why you need to have the discipline of taking mocks, and you can't be haphazard about mocks. So keep that in mind. That is why you need to say, okay, I'll take a mock every Sunday. When one of our guys, Agastya, he used to take a mock every Sunday, religiously. He did for 6 months. He amped it up later on, but every Sunday was mock day. So his body was so tuned to taking mocks that a Sunday without mocks would seem weird to it. And that was brilliant because 3 hours no longer seemed an effort. It seemed the most natural thing to do. And so build that habit from early on. Don't worry about your scores. Your score, your percentile especially, simply doesn't matter. And so don't be particular, don't be anal about that. Fine. So have a schedule to mocks. Make sure that you're religious and rigorous about it. Hang in there. Start taking mocks very quickly, very early. Don't have to worry about finishing syllabus. Fine. So I took my first CAT in 2000. If you ask me today, have I finished syllabus? Of course not. A bunch of stuff that I thought I'll read later in August, September of 2000, I still have that on my to-do list. Fine. So you can take it from me that you can have unfinished portions and still crack the crap out of this exam. So make sure that you don't get hung up over completing syllabus or anything like that. Don't put mocks on hold for any of these fake reasons. These are all excuses. Oh, today is not a good day. I don't have it well. A poor mock score will demoralize me. I think I'll finish this and take mock. 2 more weeks of intense preparation and I'll be ready. All that is just a series of excuses where you're kidding yourself. So don't give yourself that. The first 5-6 mocks don't matter, but take them. Get it off your system. Keep that in mind. Right? Next, what should be what are you looking to gain from a mock? And so, how does one analyze a mock? What is meant by this mock analysis? Every expert and a non-expert will tell you the same thing. Analyze in depth. Analyze in detail. What does that really mean? What does it mean to analyze a mock? And to me, there are 3 parts to it. And first one, this is going to be about question selection. The most crucial part of the CAT vis-a-vis preparing for each section is question selection. And so my favorite parallel is to planning a chase in a cricket match, a 50-over match. And so there are several moving parts. And so suppose your team is batting second and you have to get 300 runs in 50 overs, an even chase. So you'll straight away know that the opposition has 4 good bowlers and 2 filler bowlers. If you're a savvy chaser, you'll track how much each guy has bowled. And you'll tell yourself, look, the 10 overs out of the 2 joke bowlers, I'm talking them for 100. That means I need only 5 and over otherwise. There's one spinner who I'm very comfortable, all my batsmen are comfortable, will tonk him for 80. 180 done in 20 overs. Remaining 30 overs for 120. I can play out maiden after maiden, see away the dangerous bowler, be comfortable and tonk these 2. There's a plan in the minds of these experts and the guys who plan their chase really well. Your Michael Bevins and Javed Miandad and Mahendra Singh Dhoni's, at any point of time you can bet your bottom dollar. If it's over number 46, Dhoni will know who's going to bowl over number 47, 48, 49, 50 in the opposition. And have allotted runs for them. He'll say 47th is by a good bowler. I'll take 6 of him. The joker, I'll tonk him for 18. So you need to know your strengths. Where are your marks going to come from? And that comes by having a clear idea of what you're strong and what you're weak in. From a mock point of view, it comes from becoming better and better at question selection. I've seen guys be monstrously good at this. When I myself was poor at this when I was taking my real mocks. I would do in sequence. I'll set myself impossibly high targets that I couldn't let go of a question number 27 if it appeared and it looked like it was in my zone. I simply couldn't let go. I got out of jail because I had this problem only in Quant and I would generally escape and manage to do that question. So I got out of jail. But being savvy is far better. Fine. So question selection has to be improved. That is your number 1 task when you're analyzing a mock. The simple mantra I have that I think which works wonders. If you keep at it, if you finish a mock and you say, look, section 1, what are the 4 questions or 3 questions that I should not have attempted? And because now I have not attempted this, if I had not attempted this, what are the 4 or 5 I would have attempted? Select that. Look at that. You look at your entire paper and then say, okay, this and this I should not have touched. If I had not touched these 3, I would have got these 4. And then you sell yourself, then I would have got this many marks. Next time, that's your target. In your initial mocks, you'll see that there are 4 or 5 questions per section that you shouldn't have attempted that you end up attempting. As you go further down, that number will keep coming down. That's a marker that your question selection is improving. But every time you take a mock, you've got to say, I'll forget the scores, I'll analyze my percentile later on. I'm just going to look at the 3 sections and say, okay, these 3 questions I shouldn't have touched. And instead of that, I should have attempted these 4. You get that going, your question selection improves. That's very crucial. That's a starting point of mock analysis. Second step is gap filling, knowledge filling. So go through the solutions to learn. And so stuff that you got wrong comes first, stuff that you skipped comes second, stuff that you got right comes third. You got wrong, that means you believed you knew this and you got caught out. That means some funda you're missing. So attack that and find that. Right? Then you skipped because you didn't know one thing. Maybe it's a very conscious decision to say, okay, nothing from trigonometry. That's all right. But otherwise, you need to have a sense of how to do the next question, something like that, on that same topic. So you do that. Then what you got right to see if there's some juicier, better methods. The third idea is at overall level. You've got to say, okay, am I making fatigue errors? Am I picking up a stinker reading comprehension at the last minute? Am I rushing through without worrying about what I can get wrong? Is my error rate down to panic and trying to do too quickly? Am I reading too fast? Am I not taking a deep breath, pausing and figuring out what I need to do? Did I not take stock during the exam? And so those kind of overall things you need to look at. Fine, do all three. Your question selection is important. Your knowledge filling is important. Your overall view is important. Fine. Now, when it comes to mocks, very often I find students saying, okay, I started a mock. I've done quant. Then I'll do one section I'll do for verbal. A while later I'll do DILR. That doesn't work. Fine. So you don't do section test unless you are very particular about just doing section tests. Don't take mocks and break them into 3 parts. It is useless. The score doesn't count. The performance doesn't count. Fatigue is a very real factor. You look at a wonderful DILR set after having been in the room for 105 minutes. That's a whole new ball game compared to starting with it. You look at a stinker quant question at the 20 minutes to go. That's very different from starting with it. So fatigue plays a role. And second thing, I find this too frequently during a mock. The first section goes awry. Then you say, look, ye to gaya. This mock I'm tanking. I'll end this and try to do better tomorrow with a new mock. No, hang in there. Build your temperamental soundness. Make sure that you hang in there and complete the mock. You get tonked in one section, come back in the second. Get tonked in the second also, come back in the third. Make sure that you're resilient enough to let go of a poor performance in a section and then come back in the next one. Right? So that is a crucial feature. This is a test of stamina, test of how you can gear your mind, test of how you can plan a process, and that is important. And so if you have be rigorous, be disciplined, have a schedule. Don't let mocks go in between. All those factors are very crucial. That is the essence of this preparation. You don't need to be a doyen in trigonometry. If you understand your strengths and weaknesses well, manage your mind well, have the stamina and the intensity, you can go places. So do all those fine-tuning things now. That is very crucial. Right. Next thing. Specifically, there's quite a few people who feel that their scores are very volatile. And so I get 91st percentile, I get 75, I get 50, and then I come back to 88th percentile. There's no pattern to my mock percentile. That usually happens when your error rate is out of whack. Your accuracy is out of whack. That means you're taking chances. That means you're a hit or miss person. The more chances you take, the more volatile your scores will be. Suppose you attempt 60 questions, 35 are genuine attempts and 25 are hit or misses. 60% chances. Then this 25, on one exam you'll get 23 right, another exam you'll get 5 right. Your percentile will be a yo-yo because of that. So you need to get a handle on your risk. It's very crucial. Anytime you're getting error rate or accuracy below 70% in quant and DILR, you're doing something wrong. If it's below 60% in VRC, you're doing something wrong. I would go to the extent of saying for quant and DILR, your accuracy should be more than 80%, should be upwards of 90%. The odd mistake you make or odd question you get caught out of, that's fine. But you can't say 1 out of 4 questions I'm getting wrong. Then you're doing something fundamentally wrong. Your accuracy should be through the roof for quant and DILR. Keep that in mind. If it falls, you're in trouble. Every minute spent on questions that you get wrong is wasted. It's a very wonderful chart which mock providers give, which gives a pie chart saying questions that you got right, questions that you do not attempt, questions that you got wrong. Very often there's an equal split. So that means you spent a third of your time in stuff that you got wrong. It's so much better to spend that extra 10 seconds, 20 seconds in those questions and get them right, rather than rush through and keep on living in this hit or miss world. The guys who hit the top scores are very confident of the answers they mark. and very confident in skipping the question that they don't know. You need to build that strength. You should be very comfortable leaving questions. That is very crucial. Fine. So now, how do I get comfortable leaving questions? How do I cultivate a habit of accuracy? There's one mind trick that you should all try. Those of you who have accuracy, that is the absolute pitch. You know it's absolute pitch. I don't need to tell you the numbers. You should tell yourself, I'm taking one mock, only one mock, where I get everything right. Every single question right. So if I'm going to attempt exactly 11 questions in VRC, all 11 are right. I'm attempting 8 questions in DILR, all 8 are right. I'm attempting 12 questions in Quant, all 12 are right. That's my target. Not an outlandish, I'm not looking for 99.6 percentile. I'm just going to get everything right. But you'll realize that you do this 11 plus 8 plus 12. That is 31 questions. If all 31 are right, you're ending with a score of 93. There's every chance that automatically that's a fantastic score. As good as what you've seen or close enough. This is a wonderful thing to do because you're training your mind to be very anal about accuracy, to be very harsh on the wild guesses. And that's a very crucial training you need to do. You need to give your mind. So be very particular about that. Right? This ties in with the other thing. Don't chase attempts. Very often we work backwards. We say, I want this percentile. For that, I want this score. For that, I need to have this many attempts. That's nonsense. Say, I want 99 percentile. I want to get 140. 47, 48 correct answers is 140. I usually won't get everything correct. So I'll attempt 70. So that even if 15, 16 go wrong, I have a fantastic score. It might even be better if I attempt 75. All great mathematically, analytically. And so, but you're starting off saying I'll attempt 75 questions. So you'll start chasing. You'll read the passage quicker. You'll take chances in Quant. You'll approximate in a computation question. You'll look at the question and then go and with that plan in DILR. So once you start chasing, then you will attempt 75, but there's every chance that 30 of them could be wrong, 35 could be wrong. Then you end up with the score that's the pitch. So be very wary of attempting randomly high target number of questions. That's sometimes foolhardy, and it very frequently makes the error rate go completely out of whack. So be very wary of increasing your attempts dramatically. And so I'm going to look at the questions, have a look at the few questions, answer them, and then carry on to doing the 3-section strategies. Fine, what do we want to do for verbal, what for Quant, what for DILR, but after having one round at the questions that are sitting in. Oh, wonderful. I'm just going to go back here. Only getting 50% accuracy in VRC, DILR 80 to 90%. Please help in VRC. There's a wonderful video in our own website which says, which tells you how to narrow between two choices. It's a very crucial thing. And so selecting between two choices, I can tell you very often, great many people come back to boil it down to two questions. And then at that point, it's just a punt they're taking. So if their mind works very well till they come to say between A and C, one of the answers is right. After that, they just mark either A or C. They don't process it. And if you're one among them, you'll know what I'm talking about. My mind is good enough to go to one out of two. And then this other part of my brain says, okay, 1 out of 2. Sometimes it'll work for me. Sometimes it won't. I think it'll A. These guys will tell C. Sometimes I get it right. Sometimes I get it wrong. Let me just mark it. The moment you do this math, very often you'll say, okay, my guesses are all 50-50. So let me attempt more questions. So I'll give them myself a better chance. That doesn't work. And so resolve that final 1 and 2. One of the two choices, which is very juicy, has been put there for a reason in order to create this confusion. There's usually some ground to eliminate that mechanism to push out a choice, to clearly make sure that is not the right answer. And so if that is, you'll have to find that. You'll have to find one choice which says always, all the time, never, the strong adjective instead of a milder adjective. If that comes, then remove. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Right. So be particular about accuracy. Look to eliminate one of the two choices on finding some ground where it does not apply. That could improve your VRC. Reading slower is a very counterintuitive strategy, but it does wonders. It completely does wonders. Read slower. You read slowly. That I can tell you the difference between the quickest reader and the slowest reader for passage length of average length for cat. So quick guy can read it in 3.5 minutes. Slow guy can read it in 5 minutes. So 1.5 minutes. It doesn't matter. If you read at your own pace but get everything right, at worst, the really quick guy is going to attempt one entire passage more than you. That guy is going to get 100 percentile. You'll get 99.9 percentile. And so don't go for speed, and be careful. How to improve VRC? I'm going to come to section specific things. I'm going to have a go at section specific questions. Right now I'm thinking about overall questions. A lot of questions appear to be about section specific strategy, so I'm going to come to that. There's somebody who says I didn't complete the portions yet. Doesn't matter. Take marks. The test dojo package has to be bought separately. It can be bought separately, but if you're a 2IM overall cat course person, then you will have test dojo automatically. If you haven't seen it automatically, that means you have not gone to the course. Please go to the course, check it out. That's available automatically. Wonderful. Now I'm going to go to section wise. What should you do in a mock and how should you prepare? And so for VRC, the big bugbear is accuracy. Resolve your 1 in 2s. Make sure that you hang in there to put fight for the 1 in 2s. Don't just mark 1 out of 2. Don't just mark an A or C. Spend time on that. Slow down reading speed. That does wonders. Tell yourself that you're going to get 100% accuracy, or you're going for that. You're not taking chances. For 1 mock or 2 mocks, your attitude will shift. This attempt and chase attempts attitude will go away. You'll completely get comfortable with saying, okay, this I know, this I won't touch, this I get, this I don't get. What you're very confident of, you'll attempt only that. And slowly you'll start picking patterns and what you're good at, what you're not good at, work your way through. Fine. So VRC, resolve your 1 in 2s aggressively, slow down reading speed. Tell yourself that accuracy matters. Fine. So another thing about accuracy, this has worked really well for me. I used to find it tough to measure my risk. I would never know how much risk I was taking. So I decided to categorize all my attempts into 2 parts. And so I would say, when I'm attempting a question, I will say, look, this I know. And then these I'm taking a chance with. The 34 questions in VRC, I'm attempting 30. I'll generally tell myself, okay, these 22 I know. These 8 I've taken a mild chance with. And then when I analyze, I want to know that 22 out of those 22 are right. And of those 8, 4 went my way, 4 went the other way. That's all right. So you know what kind of risk you're taking. So, but of the overall 30, if you're getting 10 wrong, and 8 of them are from the 22 that you thought you had in the bag, then you're in trouble. Then you don't have a sense of what you're confident about, what you're not confident about, where you're taking a chance, where you're not taking a chance. So break your attempts into 2 parts, especially in VRC. This I know, I'm confident. This is in the bag. Then those ones, you should get almost all of them right. And the ones that you're taking a chance, that's all right. That sometimes goes your way, sometimes goes the other way. That's all right. Fine. Moving to DILR. DILR is a fabulous section. It's a section that I have not done that well in, because my question selection for all the GAN I give is a little poor. Because I like to go at the paper and I totally back myself. I'm like this mildly overconfident cat attempter. And so if you follow cricket, I'll be like not like Dhoni, but like who else is there? Who's a random hitter? Like Afridi. Fine. So I don't know if you guys know Afridi. Afridi was a fantastic guy. And so Afridi would go and want to hit sixers of every delivery. Dhoni would play off the guy who he respects and tonk the other guy. and then he's coasting home. He's done all the math. He's good. But Afridi wants to hit the best player in the opposite team. He wants to hit him for 25 runs in that over. So he'll get out. One day it'll work. Next day he'll tonk. So my DILR is a little erratic because I look at the first set and say, okay, this seems challenging, but I'll get it right. And so Bharat is super savvy. And so he's put an entire video that where he says, look, how do you select questions in DILR? Go through that. That's gold. Where he says, look, browse through everything, hit your 2 things, get them in the bag, have 8 questions answered in 25 minutes, then feel the surge of confidence, see if you can nail 2 more. And that really works magic. And so there'll be one usually heavy duty quant set or DI set, which is just computation and a graph. Get that done. As if you're good with set theory, find that set theory one, get that done. So get the 2 correct things that you're in your sweet spot done first, then move over. DILR is all about question selection. Every time you do a mock in DILR, you have to tell yourself, there are 2 easy sets in this, I'm going to nail those, and then I'll go to the rest. If you tank up your question selection, got it. And so guys are saying wonderful examples. Sehwag is the man, definitely. Sehwag had a see ball, hit ball philosophy. He didn't care who the bowler was, what the reputation was, what the context was, what the match was. World Cup final or a practice match, if the ball is meant to be there he'll tonk it. Fine, so that's brilliant. So Sehwag is the perfect example, not Afridi. And so Afridi is erratic. And so, but be like Dhoni, Bevan. And so the brilliance in Dhoni, if you go back in some of the chases, I've seen him play out the 46th over for 4 runs. India will need 5 overs, maybe will need 45. And that 46th over, he'll take 4 singles, 5 singles, get 5 runs, 6 runs with a leg by and a wide, and go off. So 45 of 5 overs will become 40 of 4 overs. We'll all think this is crazy. But then that will have been the last over of the trump card. And the captain now says, this guy is playing so confidently and not caring about this. And then the 5th bowler, when he comes back and he comes to bowl, he knows that I have 2 overs. And the way this dude is playing, he has basically said he's going to tonk me for 25. That's operating in his mind when he comes. And he usually shits bricks and he gets tonked. So it's DILR is all about question selection, set selection. So do enormous amount of practice and training for that. To say, okay, just set I have in the bag, I'll get both of this in the bag, then go to the rest. You have to do practice, you have to have stamina, you need to do everything, you need to see the solutions, you need to get tons of range of variety in what you do, all good. But there'll be one key success factor for DILR, it's question selection. One key success factor for VRC, resolving those 1 and 2s, hanging in and not getting tired and marking an A. That's going to be the key success factor. Quant is about speed. Let me not pussyfoot around the issue. How quickly you can do matters. Right? So, but that doesn't mean you randomly get into a state of panic and go bang, 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 bang. So you need to have an understanding of what your strength is, what your where your marks are going to come from. Approach those with rigor, with banker vigor. Stay out of the stinkers. Don't let your ego come and play a role. But if you've done hundreds of thousands of questions in quant, your mind should be operating in an automated mode, where you look at each question and you go, I know this, yeah, I know this, and then you go. You cannot afford to pause. You cannot afford to sit and take stock. You cannot afford to take a deep breath and think about what you'll do in your interviews, and none of that. And so quant, the practice pays off massively for quant, not just some strategic tweak, but doing tons of questions, question after question after question, hundreds of questions, where you're automating process, where you look at the question and you automatically know the method. That is very important. When understanding your strengths is very crucial. So, I've known guys from 2IM, Bharat especially. He's very, very good with arithmetic. He used to stay away from geometry, like it was some not to be touched topic. But he would consistently hit 94-95 percentile in any cat you took in quant, basically because half the paper is arithmetic. He'll nail that. He'll pick and choose a couple from number theory, a little bit of algebra, take it to 18, 19, 20 questions, get everything right. You're looking at 95, 96, 97 percentile. Find giant chunks you can leave and then come back. Fine. So that kind of game savviness to know where your strengths are, where your marks are going to come from, that is crucial. But that sits on top of automation. That sits on top of tons of practice. So quant, if you need to crack, you need to automate your brain to pick patterns and starting steps for a bunch of questions straight away. Okay, so do tons of practice, you'll go places in quant. So how would I define as kind of key success factor for VRC? Be particular about resolving the 1 and 2, practice them rigorously, go through solutions, improve on your accuracy. For DILR, be particular, be very, very anal about selecting the right puzzles. For quant, know where your strengths are, don't let your intensity drop, go berserk with speed, automate processes with tons of practice. There's no substitute for that. We had our own guys who were fundamentally sound. They got math. They would wrap their head around a bunch of ideas really well. No tough questions. But they had to reprocess for each question. So we had a guy, Swami, who would look at a question and then like it, enjoy it, put a smile on his face, and go through a full process and discover new funda and answer it and be delighted about it. Will take 3.5 minutes. But in the exam, you want to rush through to the method and be intense about it. So on the fundamental soundness, you need to have tons of practice. And so don't let that go. Now, the other things about what to do when marks get me down. And so it's a tricky part. And so this exam is tough not because of funda or concept, but because it pushes your kind of your ability to hang in there. And I can tell you one thing. I've spent 2 years in an IM, good college. I can tell you of the 180 or so guys who were with me, about 160 of us would gladly say that we had nothing going for us apart from basic intelligence and some grit. There were 20 who were off the charts, or at least 10 or 12 who could have gone into any CAT without any preparation and got themselves a call from all the IIMs. They just had it. They could just walk into the exam and score 99.8, 99.9 because they knew their math, they knew their puzzles, they used to read a lot. Some people just have it. But the vast majority have just planned it well, shown enough grit. When I say grit, it's not just grit in the exam, but grit in the preparation phase. There are going to be multiple occasions where your mock scores are volatile or mock scores disappoint you, where you feel like throwing it all in. Hang in there. Find the things that motivate you. Very often, chasing input variables is really helpful. Don't say I'm going to get 98 percentile in the next mock. Tell yourself that you will take the next mock for sure within the next 3 days and analyze it for 4 hours. That's something you can control. You do that, you'll go. Right. So the input metric tracking is very relaxing because you know what you need to do, and that is completely controllable. Saying I will get 98 percentile is pressurizing. So that particular exam might not go your way. A couple of questions can get wrong. Maybe it's intensely competitive. It doesn't work for you. So track input variables. Say your quant is not going well. Tell yourself I'll do 400 questions before I take my next mock coming Sunday. Fine. So set that ambitious, ridiculous target for how much effort you will put in. That can be meet that or meet half of that, meet 70% of that. That is very relaxing. There's nothing that is as relaxing as good old-fashioned honest work. The effort, the hours that you put in, that relaxes you. People very often underestimate it. You feel like, look, I'm distressed. I'm getting tired. I get burnt out. I keep thinking about so many possibilities. Maybe I'm throwing it all out. This is stressful. The amount of time we keep reinforcing the notion that this is stressful causes further stress. The best way to alleviate it is shut yourself off and say, okay, theek hai, stressful hai, I'll do 100 questions. I'll worry about my stress after 100 questions. Work in and of itself, the world is not competition. It's me. I have not stepped up to the plate. So step up. Fine. And remember that all of us go through this, and I'm absolutely no saint. There have been tons of occasions where I've let myself down in terms of the amount of effort I can put in, or what I can contribute or do meaningfully in work, personal life, everything. And so it happens. One is to set that ambitious targets for effort and hang in there. Two is to pick yourself up. Fine. So you can't expect to be Spider-Man and Batman all the time. And we are extremely fallible people. You take any person in the world, you'll realize that tons of opportunities that they've let go. So fallibility is part of our fabric. Vulnerability is part of it. So recognize that. Sometimes knowing that you're going to get stuff wrong is very relaxing. Very relaxing. And I read a very interesting article about resilience. It was a video which said clearly that suffering is part of the process. Accept it. Everybody goes through it. This is you suffer, therefore you are types. So don't expect things to be a breeze. That is very relaxing. Accepting that things are not going to go your way. You're going to get stuff wrong. That's sometimes very relaxing. And so focus on effort, not on output, and accept fallibilities. If you accept the fallibilities, then it's that much easier to pick yourself up. And so in terms of preparation, sometimes I like to hide in my strengths. And so I take a mock, I realize that my VRC was 90th percentile, DLR was 92, Quant was 99, and I'm feeling peeved because I wanted to do even better than this. Then I'll tell myself, look, how did I get 99 in Quant? I want 99.8. And I'll go throw myself into Quant and analyze the hell out of the paper and do 100 questions to perk myself up to that point. And then go after VRC and DLR. So it's just a get out of jail clause. I'm not good at this. I'm good at the other thing. Let me do the thing that I'm good at before I come back to this. So the way of just handling your own mind, your own brain. Don't increase the pressure on this exam. Don't quit a job. Don't be nasty to your boss. Don't do silly things with if you have a good job or in your academics, assuming that you're going to go out to do off an MBA. And so don't put your life on hold because you're chasing this dream. It's a competitive exam, intensely competitive exam. So don't push yourself into a corner where this 3-hour exam has to be meaningful for you. It's not worth it. It's simply not worth it. Fine. So don't do that. In terms of preparation strategy, just switching back, I see a couple of questions on do novels help and what should I read. For VRC, the most important, crucial, determining factor underlying your preparation is reading. Para jumbles, you can take 2 hours, you're done with para jumbles. There's no theory. To get some practice, you're good. Sentence elimination, another 2 hours, you're good. Para summary, another 2 hours, getting some practice, you're good. VRC is all about reading. So you can prepare for the syllabus of VRC in 1 day. There's nothing there. Some question types. So what makes the difference? The guys with natural reading habit, guys who are not that comfortable reading. So be sure to read for at least 1 hour every day. Read with variety on all fronts. Length of the book, novels, short stories, essays, long essays, short essays, not Twitter, obviously, but everything upwards of that. Read variety across genres, across authors, across styles, across the geography where the content is coming from, all of that. Mix it up. And so if you're not already a part of it, please make sure that you sign up to Bharat's reading list. It is worth its weight in gold. And it just recommends itself. If you go through it, you can spend a day reading high quality articles. I have a bunch of favorite places, favorite corners on the internet to go to, where I'm not really preparing for anything, but I just want to read it to have fun. And I like the Guardian's sports coverage, especially the OBO, the over by over or the minute by minute. I'll pick up some old match and then just scroll through it. I like that. I like Matrubudam from the Hindu, which is just fantastic stuff. There's absolutely nothing to gain as far as the English language is concerned. It is written in kind of Indian English or Tanglish, right? So, but it's ridiculously funny and usually on point. And I can binge read Matrubodham as a break. I'm just getting worked up. I'll read it for half an hour and pick myself up and then go to other things. Right. So it is crucial to have an outlet like that so that you can do. But keep your outlets as reading outlets and not watching or viewing outlets. Any form of passive entertainment lulls you, where you're not engaging in the entertainment. That's a pain point. So reading, you're engaging with it. Solving a puzzle, you're sitting and grappling with it. Doing Sudoku, you're at it. Binge watching Game of Thrones, fun as it might be, is passive. You're sitting there and watching somebody else do all the action. Fine. So therefore avoid that. Sometimes we need that as well. Fine. It's like junk food. The prescribed outlets are all brilliant, but every now and then you want to pick up a snack or have an ice cream. So you need that. I'm not saying don't do any of that, but give preference to kind of more active forms of entertaining yourself, where you read, you engage, you solve, you move the pieces, something like that. Wonderful. I'm just going to go back to questions. I want to thank 2am for two things. Free questions, which are 3 years past. Thanks a lot. We took a lot of effort to get that right. So wonderful to see that it has hit a spot. Bharat's curated reading list, so it's all Bharat. So I will tell him that, and I'm sure he's listening in from somewhere. He's put his heart and soul into it. It's not just been an effort or an idea for 2 weeks. The beauty about that list is not the fact that there's a repository. It's a repository that gets updated, and with commentary, flavor, discussion, channel. He puts up an article there. If it's a spicy article, it gets commented on. And somebody responds to it. So you read another article, you click out and so somewhere else, your exposure just shoots up if you just take that list seriously, nothing else. Going back to question, scores are plateaued out. How to increase from this barrier? That usually happens. And there's a big theory in terms of improvement cycles. Your scores will go up, plateau, go up, plateau, go up, plateau. So every time you plateau, you need to figure out an extra lever. And then going from 80 to 90 is easy. Easier than 90 to 95. Easier than 95 to 99. Going from 50 to 80 is even easier. Your initial yards are simpler. As you go higher and higher, you know that the bunch of guys have crossed all this, have come there. You have to beat them to go to the next step. Remember, plateaus are common. And when you hit a plateau, you got to tell yourself, look, I know this. I know that if I go take a mock, I'm going to attempt 17 questions in VRC for sure. Get 2 puzzles right in DILR for sure. And attempt 12 questions and get them right for sure. And that is in the bag. Now you say, okay, I'm getting better and better at this. Where else can I scrounge? It could be a topic that you're adding on. I will add geometry. I will be the doyen in geometry. Take a week out and add that. I'm going to do just 6 exercises of parajumbles of 15 questions each, 90 questions. And I'll go do that so sincerely that of the 4 parajumble questions, I'll be confident of getting 2 or 3 right. This is a new string to my bow. I get that on board. Or I'll go and do 7 set theory puzzles and 6 pure DI puzzles. Because these 2 are my strong areas. The moment I do that, I feel confident and I'll chase that. So you're adding on a topic that can help. Next thing is mixing up your approach. Sometimes that takes you off your game, but sometimes it can open up. So usually some people like starting with RC. Suppose you say you consistently start with RC, but you miss out on parajumble and sentence elimination. You flip it out and say, look, I'm going to start with this, end with that later on. DILR, sometimes you say, look, I know these 2 sets. They go for me. I know that these 2 are my favorite. The third one is not mine. I've always said I'll keep these 2 in the bag and then go for the third. But I end up being tired. So I will go for the third, then go for what is in my bag. It's like saying the 5th bowler, I know I'll keep him for over number 46 to 50. I'll tonk him for whatever I need to tonk him for. I'll go do the tougher thing and then come to this. Kind of saving the best for last. Not great strategies. I'm not saying all of you should try it. But mixing up strategies, trying out variants, that helps you have another view, another perspective of your own paper. That helps. Amping up intensity really helps. And so very often your mind wanders during the exam. You need to bring it back. There are mental cues, mental tricks that are there. I usually like to look into kind of middle distance and then switch back in. Our eyes get tired staring at a screen. One peak for 20 seconds, taking stock, stretching your hand out, and then coming back, your eyes get relaxed. When you go from one section to another, three deep breaths, having a look at a question, taking it all in, and starting all over, that helps. And again, once again, to give a sporting analogy, Rahul Dravid apparently had a gigantic fatigue problem. You could see it. He throws everything into every delivery. I don't know if you guys have watched him in his initial phases. 96 to 2001, he was a fantastically talented player, extremely gritty, hardworking. You could see the perseverance dripping off his veins, and so he was up there. You would throw everything into getting every half an extra run. So Ganguly will be playing on the other thing. It'll be like these two guys are playing two different games. This Rahul Dravid is a picture of intense concentration, and Ganguly is all elegant and grace. Rahul Dravid would also be elegant, but he'll be so intensely elegant that you'll get tired. You'll feel tired watching him. And then something like a switch flipped on when he had a chat with one of the chapels. The guy said you're concentrating all the time that your body can't take it. So Rahul Dravid went something like 16 scores of 50 plus before getting his first century, which was I think 148 in South Africa. So he part of it was fatigue. He was throwing so much into it. He was spending 3.5 hours getting to 75. There was not enough in the tank for the last few. So he had to pick up cues of switching off and switching on. So in between overs, he would wander to take 3 steps to the leg umpire and then come back. Every time a new bowler comes, he'll change guard again. He'll start afresh. So every time it was the non-striker's end, he would consciously switch off. So those mechanisms you need to build in to combat fatigue. Very often in an exam context, just telling yourself, look, I'm getting tired, I'm going to make a silly mistake, not happening. That works. Having one glass of water works. Switching off for 20 seconds and refocusing works. Taking deep breaths works. Looking into middle distance works. So add these props to make sure that fatigue doesn't get to you. Your tiredness doesn't contribute to errors. Some are gimmicky tricks, but if they work for you, hey, they work for you. What is wrong in adding a few gimmicks as long as they work for you? Too much screen time is draining. Of course it is draining, especially in these worlds. And I struggle through, I know a bunch of my office guys are there. I struggle through Zoom calls. If I have in a day, I have 2 of them, I can live. 3 of them, I get burnt out. And looking at a screen and talking and tracking all that, so many noises in the background and listening to everybody drains me out no end. I'm a little old-fashioned. I would rather have people go on a walk, talk, trash something out with them, and then come back, rather than stare at a screen and talk to them. That just drives me mad. And so I have nothing for you there. And so if you crack some solution and tell me how to live with extended screen times and Zoom calls and meets and all that, please drop me a message. I'll learn that. And there's no getting away. That much I know. MCAT's VRC easier than SimCAT. This is Bhayankar analysis. I'm not getting into that. The IMS SimCATs are pretty decent. MCATs are a little volatile. Whichever one you're taking, stick with it. Analyzing this mock versus that mock. It's a mug's game. Take many mocks. Take mocks with variety, with multiple providers. And you're good to go. Don't overdo this comparing mocks and analysis thing. Right? Best mock series. What do you think I'm going to say? But I like our mock series. Guys have done quite a bit of work this year again as well. But we don't provide a lot of quantity. We are hell-bent on quality. According to me, the best mocks are the actual cats. After that, we guys do a damn neat job of it. Beyond that, between the big 3, among the big 3, one of the big 3 you should pick because it gives you some benchmarking advantage. Nobody else can give you a benchmarking advantage apart from Time IMS Career Launcher. Because a certain number is required. There need to be 8,000 test takers at some point of time. Of the big 3, I like IMS. Right? Wonderful. I think we're winding down. What to do to go from 90 to 95? 90 to 95 was a lot of automation in Quant, a lot of better question selection in DILR, lot of reading in VRC. How to go from 95 to 99? Those gains are intensity linked, not having the concentration drops, not becoming vulnerable to fatigue. Taking mock should become second nature, should not be a big deal. And so that intensity amping up is that last lap from 95 to 99. That's important. That's very crucial. And so for intensity amping up, so a bunch of our guys tried wonderful new things. The guy, when you used to have paper-based mock, there's a guy who always used to get tired with 3-hour mocks. Back then we used to have even 2-hour papers, but he always used to get tired in the last 15. So he would, in a week, he set aside 2 days, a Monday and a Friday or whatever, where he took 2 mocks each day, practically mocked back to back. And he said, look, if I can hang in there for 6 hours once or twice in my life, I can bloody well hang in there for 3 hours. And it worked. His mind made an adjustment, and 3 hours seemed fine. Now remember, I'm not recommending that you do back-to-back mocks. Not. But if you must once, give it a go. Why not? What's the downside? So do that once, so that you are very clear about the fact that you can hang in there for 3 hours. So you can mentally gear yourself up to hang in there for 3 hours. That is crucial. Anything else? Is your mocks not free? Why would it be free? Right? We're good at it. Why would we give it for free? Like Batman and Joker. Right? I've just finished my quant syllabus, taking cat level questions and taking 2 mocks. Take it to 95, it will take you to 99. Getting stuck in theta and VA is the first world problem. The theta is sentence rearrangement or parajumble or sentence elimination. Sentence elimination is not even theta. How does it matter? You're going to write A or mark choice A. That doesn't matter. It's only parajumble. Don't worry too much. I don't think anybody gets 4 out of 4 right. If you get 2 out of 4 right and you're not losing negative marks and you're not spending too much time, that's brilliant. Go for that. Any suggestion for working professionals? Don't quit your job. Maintain a discipline in your mock taking schedule. Squeeze every ounce of time. Sacrifice everything else. If you're following England versus Pakistan, don't follow. If you like the funny WhatsApp forwards, get out of all those groups. If you like to just take a stroll on Facebook or Quora, get out of it. If you like browsing on YouTube, don't do it, except of course for 2 AM sessions. Just kidding. If some of these, the problem we have now is the quality of content has shot up. When we guys were growing up, we used to have, when I was in school or college, we used to have 2 channels, and they used to dish out trash. And so right now, I'm very nostalgic about some of the series I watched and say they're very good, but they're average, to some average stuff. After that, when the channels exploded, we still the content was kind of mediocre to above. The production values were not great. You'll have a good script, but very poorly delivered, or very good production values, but atrociously poor script. It didn't fall in place all well together. But right now, the content is fantastic. Some of the crowd-generated content is fantastic. And so there is hardly a video that comes up on a good feed on YouTube or Facebook that is not well made. And so it's the packaging, the digital format, the ease with which people can put content, the extent to which the algorithms push up good quality content, and the way in which the non-star, non-celebrity created but the random person created content goes viral, and the element of the common man saying this to it, it's all fantastic. Therein lies the problem. You can't stay away from it. It draws you in, and hooks you in and takes you in. No matter how great the content is of packaged content, beyond a 45-minute threshold for a day, it's just trash. It is taking you away from other ways of engaging yourself. The price you pay is not in terms of poor quality entertainment. It's extraordinarily good quality entertainment. The price you pay is in terms of not being able to chase the other thing. Any particular strategy for puzzle selection? Go through that video that Bharat has done. I think one of us will probably send you that link or post it here. A fabulous video on how to select the right puzzles in DILR. Go through that. That's wonderful. 20%. I'm usually a good reader. This is Rohan Tiwari. Sometimes just 15. Read slower. Be particular about the final 1 and 2 choices. Hang in there. Right. Getting 60 to 70 now, how should I improve? We've discussed a bunch of things. If you're at 60 to 70 now, just learning and putting your head down. See, from here, you still have nearly 4 months to the exam, at least 3.5 months. And so, reasonable expectation is that you can double your score. Generally, mocks are tougher than the actual CAT. So, you do the math like this. Suppose you're at 60 now, you can double it to 120. Sometimes you can triple it, but doubling you can. That means you'll double and take it to 120 as far as the mocks are concerned. Actual CAT is simpler. So you can get to 140. You're getting 60 now. You can say, okay, I have a path to 140. You have to do a ton of things to go to 140, but the route is available. Fine. So don't worry too much about the scores you're getting now. Make sure you're doing the right things. Score will go up. A mock every day. This is from Kajal Jain. That's overcooking. Don't need to do a mock every day. That means you'll do 90 mocks from here. Your brain will just get fatigued out of mocks, and mocks become so routine that you don't have a wow factor out of it. Do one per day for till September, 2 per day in October, or till October 15. Sorry, 1 per week, 2 per week, and then amp it up to 3 per week in the last 3 weeks. Then you're good to go. But don't overdo and say I'll take 80 mocks. Then mocks become so natural that you don't have the josh to do it. You shouldn't get burnt out, but you should be able to throw everything in. It's a nice fine balance. Right? How should we revise Quant? Should we need to review all the questions again? Not necessary. Find your gaps. Your mocks will tell you the gaps. You take a mock, you'll know that you're weaker in inequality than you thought you were. You had a dicier fundamentals in functions than you thought you had. Fill that gap. Do 10 questions in that. Do 15 questions in that. You are worrying about a formula in geometry, a theorem in geometry. Revisit that chunk. Your revision should be guided by your mock performance. You got scared when sir suggested 1 mock. Yeah, I'm sorry, just slipped out. 1 per week is great. Then 2, then 3. Never ever more than 3 per week. Is reading the Hindu really? Nothing is essential. Reading the Hindu is very good. Hindu has good language, good content, written reasonably tightly. Sometimes they get verbose and get carried away, but otherwise it's good. How to know my strengths? Do mocks. It's like one of those old questions. How to get better? How do I avoid mistakes with experience? How do I get experience? By making mistakes. And how do you do better in mocks? By knowing your strengths and weaknesses. How do you know your strengths and weaknesses? Do mocks. Aeon and Smithsonian's or novels, both, always both. Somebody who's insistent, who's very keen on writing Binod, right? So forget about it. Knowing approximately 18, still attempting fewer. Hang in there. Your question selection, if it improves, your attempts will improve. So it could also be fatigue. So be little careful about, or be cognizant of the fact that fatigue plays a role. That's crucial. Past 10 mocks are this, they're good. Nikhil Thakur, the scores are good, they're in a tight range. Keep plugging away, they'll naturally go up. Wonderful, guys. I'm going to wind down for the day. Wonderful catching up with you guys. Once again, happy Independence Day. It's a wonderful day. Enjoy yourself. Do spend some time to kind of think about what these great leaders have done. We're a nicely messed up country, but a bunch of people spent a lot of their lives and energy and time and money making sure that we had the opportunity of being a independent, nicely messed up country. Most countries are messed up, and so they have their own bugbears. And so let's not get caught up too much in what things that are not going great for us. There are incredibly large number of things that are going fantastically well for our country. For every joker who's corrupt and swindling, there are a bunch of guys who are toiling day and night to make this much improvement in some few people's lives. Let's be thankful we have them and be inspired by them and be thrilled with them, and not get too bugged with the guys who actually take away something from our lives. Right? So happy Independence Day. It's a 74th Independence Day, but it's been 73 years since we got independence. We're counting 1947 as well. That's how we are doing it, so we'll do it like that. Wonderful, guys. Best wishes for your exam. Have loads of fun preparing. That's very crucial. Don't get hung up over cat percentiles. Be hung up over how much effort and fight and into you put in. How much you throw into it, rather than how the score pans out. Cheers and best wishes. Have a great weekend as well.